When Timothée Chalamet stood on top of the Las Vegas Sphere in a blaze of orange light, nobody expected what was really happening behind the scenes of his most insane movie yet. The story of Marty Supreme isn't just about ping pong. It's about a real hustler whose life was so wild that Hollywood had to tone it down. And what Chalamet did to prepare for this role. 6 years of training that turned him into something nobody saw coming. This isn't another safe biopic where everything's polished and perfect. Marty Supreme just shattered A24's box office records with the highest per-screen average in almost a decade, pulling in $875,000 from just 6 theaters. That's $145,900 per screen. Audiences are going absolutely feral for this film, selling out 92 showings before the Christmas Day wide release. Critics are calling it Chalamet's career-defining performance with a jaw-dropping 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. But here's where things get twisted. The real person behind this character lived a life so outrageous that the movie couldn't capture it all. When you find out what actually went down in those underground ping-pong parlors of 1950s New York, you'll understand why this story stayed hidden for decades. Meet Marty Reisman, nicknamed the Needle for his razor-thin frame and lightning-fast reflexes. This wasn't some country club athlete playing for trophies. Reisman was a Jewish kid from Manhattan's Lower East Side who turned table tennis into a hustler's paradise. His father was a cab driver and compulsive gambler. His mother worked in garment factories after escaping the Soviet Union. By age 14, Marty was already city junior champion. But championships weren't paying the bills, so he walked into Lawrence's Broadway Table Tennis Club on 54th Street, where the real money changed hands. These weren't friendly matches. Players could rake in hundreds of dollars in a single night, betting on games that lasted until sunrise. The room was filled with misfits, doctors, actors, students, and straight-up gamblers. Someone called the Shirt King once described Reisman's game like this. Marty had a trigger in his thumb. He hit bullets. You could lose your eyebrows playing with him. At 15 years old, Reisman did something absolutely insane at a national tournament in Detroit. He placed a $500 bet on himself. In today's money, that's over $6,000. The guy he thought was a bookie turned out to be the head of the United States Table Tennis Association. Police escorted Reisman out of the tournament, and officials suspended him indefinitely from sanctioned table tennis worldwide. But that didn't stop him. From 1949 to 1951, Reisman and his partner Douglas Cartland toured the world as the opening act for the Harlem Globetrotters. They weren't playing normal ping pong. They hit balls with frying pans. They used the soles of their sneakers as paddles. They played blindfolded, sitting down, whatever got the crowd screaming. Comedian Jonathan Katz remembered playing against Reisman as a kid. Reisman beat him using the flat end of a chess piece. Director Josh Safdie grew up hearing stories about this underground world. His great-uncle played at Lawrence's and told him about the characters he met there, including Reisman's friend and competitor Dick Miles. Safdie's wife found Reisman's 1974 autobiography, The Money Player, at a thrift store and handed it to her husband. When Safdie read it, he was finishing years of work on Uncut Gems, a project everyone laughed at until it became a masterpiece. Every step of the way, there was either a hurdle or a stopgap or a laugh in my face, Safdie said about Uncut Gems. He saw himself in Reisman's obsession, someone chasing a dream nobody respected. Safdie had been friends with Timothée Chalamet, and when he pitched the project, he focused on one thing: Reisman's physical similarities to the actor. The slender build, the intense eyes, the nervous energy. Chalamet accepted immediately and started table tennis training in 2018.
But nobody expected what came next. Chalamet didn't just learn ping pong, he disappeared into the role for 6 to 7 years. His coach got him to a level where every shot looked professional, where the precision was exact enough to fool actual champions. The film's $70 million budget made it A24's most expensive production ever, surpassing even Civil War. Safdie wanted Chalamet's eyes to look smaller, so he made the actor wear prescription glasses with contact lenses underneath. This temporarily impaired Chalamet's vision during filming. Safdie encouraged him to do his own stunts. Cinematographer Darius Khondji shot the entire film on 35mm with vintage anamorphic lenses to recreate that gritty 1950s feel. They filmed real locations in New York and Japan, building modular units to recreate Norkin's shoe shop while avoiding modern hotels nearby. For scenes set at Lawrence's Broadway table tennis club, which had been demolished decades ago, production designer Kevin Thompson rebuilt it using blueprints and black and white photos. They even found a 16mm recording that showed the original color palette. Marty Supreme follows the fictional Marty Mauser, a brash shoe salesman turned ping pong champion in post-war New York City. The supporting cast is absolutely stacked and weird in the best way. Gwyneth Paltrow plays Kay Stone, a wealthy retired actress and socialite who gets involved with Marty. Odessa Agion is Rachel Misler, a married pet store employee having an affair with him. Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank plays Milton Rockwell, a businessman and Kay's husband who takes interest in Marty. Tyler the Creator is Wally, a taxi driver and Marty's friend. Abel Ferrara plays Ezra Mishkin, a criminal Marty gets tangled up with. Even Fran Drescher appears in the film. Basketball legend George the Iceman Gervin plays a character based on Herwald Lawrence, who owned the first black-owned business in Times Square. Playwright David Mamet has a cameo because he was actually a table tennis hustler himself in college and used to frequent Reisman's gym on the Upper West Side alongside Dustin Hoffman and Matthew Broderick.
The marketing campaign for Marty Supreme became its own viral phenomenon. Chalamet posted an 18-minute fake Zoom call with A24's marketing team where he pitched increasingly ridiculous ideas, painting the Statue of Liberty orange, flying a blimp over Tyler the Creator's Camp Flog Gnaw Festival, and raining ping-pong balls on the crowd. When someone mentioned it might be a safety hazard, Chalamet said he didn't want anyone in an unsafe condition, but he also didn't want to be too safe about putting out the movie. Then he actually did it. A bright orange blimp with Marty Supreme on each side flew across America, landing at Long Beach Airport as its primary base. Chalamet designed limited edition orange windbreakers with Nahimius that Tom Brady, Misty Copeland, Kid Cudi, and Bill Nye all wore on social media. They lit the Empire State Building orange. They turned the Sphere in Las Vegas orange, and Chalamet became the first person to stand on top of it. He appeared on The Tonight Show and told Jimmy Fallon this was the easiest sell of his career because it's an original independent film about sacrifice in pursuit of a dream. He looked directly into the camera and said young people need this movie because we live in bleak times. Then Chalamet made a promise that sounds impossible. He told fans at early screenings he would appear at 128 screenings in New York City over 4 days. People thought he was joking. He wasn't. He's been showing up, surprising audiences, making the promotional push feel personal instead of corporate. Forecasts predict Marty Supreme will earn between $12 million and $20 million over its 4-day Christmas weekend. The film already received 3 Golden Globe nominations: Best Motion Picture Musical or Comedy, Best Actor for Chalamet, and Best Screenplay. But here's what makes this different from your typical sports movie. Critics are split. Some are calling it one of the best films of the year. Others say Marty Mauser is so insufferable and unlikable that watching him for 2 hours feels exhausting. The character burns bridges, treats people terribly, and shows almost no redeeming qualities. Yet somehow, audiences can't look away. That's because Safdie and Chalamet aren't trying to make you love Marty. They're showing you the toxic ambition that drives someone to greatness, the cost of chasing a dream when you refuse to stop. The real Marty Reisman never became the worldwide champion he desperately wanted to be. He won 5 bronze medals at World Championships. He became U.S. men's singles champion in 1958 and 1960. At 67 years old, he won the U.S. Hardbat Championship in 1997, proving he could still compete decades later. He performed his signature trick on David Letterman's show, attempting to split a cigarette with a ping pong ball live on stage. He spent his life promoting traditional hardbat table tennis, refusing to adapt to the modern sponge paddles that dominated the sport. Reisman passed away in December 2012 from heart and lung complications, but his legend lives on in underground ping pong circles and now in one of the most talked about films of the year. The movie even includes a scene where a champion imprisoned at Auschwitz tells how Nazi guards spared him because they recognized his fame. This actually happened to Polish table tennis legend Aloisi Ehrlich, showing how respected the sport was in Europe even during the darkest times. Marty Supreme isn't trying to be a feel-good underdog story. It's a cautionary tale wrapped in spectacular ping-pong sequences, 1950s New York grit, and one of Chalamet's most fearless performances. The film asks uncomfortable questions about who we admire as heroes and whether the ends justify the means. Whether Marty Supreme becomes a box office smash or a cult classic, one thing's certain. It's unlike anything you've seen this year, and Timothée Chalamet just proved he's willing to risk everything for a story he believes in. The question now is whether audiences are ready for a hero who doesn't deserve their love but demands their attention anyway.